Today, we're digging into a huge governance issue that honestly hides in plain sight way too often. And the question is pretty simple. When you hire a high-stakes advisor, are you actually paying for their proven expertise, or are you just paying for the fancy brand name on their business card? It's a critical difference, so let's start with a really simple thought experiment. Okay, think about this for a second. Would you ever hire an electrician to come in and wire your entire building without first checking if they were licensed? No way, right? The very idea sounds crazy, because you'd obviously demand proof that they know what they're doing when the stakes are that high. Now, let's just hold on to that thought. And here is where the logic just completely falls apart. Look at the electrician. Verification is mandatory. Their license can be checked by anyone, and if they mess up, the consequences are legally defined. But now, look at the advisor who's guiding your multi-million-dollar strategy. There's usually no equivalent obligation to prove their competence, very little scrutiny, and if things go wrong, well, all of the consequences fall on you, the client. So yeah, this isn't just a quirky little inconsistency. It's a really dangerous double standard. We're talking about a fundamental breakdown in governance, and one that has very, very real-world consequences. I mean, this sentence really says it all, doesn't it? We literally put more effort into checking the qualifications of the person fixing our lights than the person advising us on risks that could sink the entire company. When you see it laid out like that, it's pretty shocking. So the big question is, how on earth did we get here? How did this bizarre situation become the default? Well, to figure that out, we've got to look at the market itself, and specifically the rise of these massive do-it-all consulting firms. You know, you can totally see the appeal. The sales pitch for hiring one of these big firms is really strong. You get a single relationship to manage, all the services are integrated, procurement is way simpler, and it feels like you have unified accountability. For a busy exec, the one-stop shop is just easy. It saves a ton of time. Now, let's be super clear. The business model itself isn't the problem here. These big firms absolutely have real experts on staff. The trouble starts with a conflict of interest. The firm is incentivized to grow and keep its people busy, which might mean staffing your critical project with a generalist who happens to be available, not necessarily the world-class specialist you actually need. And that's where what's good for the firm and what's good for you can really start to diverge. This whole mental trap, this cognitive mistake, it actually has a name. And putting a name to something is always the first step toward fixing it. It is called the equivalence fallacy. In a nutshell, it's the false belief that a fancy job title, like say risk director at a big-name firm, is the same thing as actual, proven professional competence. It's the assumption that the company's brand is a guarantee of an individual's expertise. And we need to be really, really clear about this assumption. It's not just a little bit wrong. It is demonstrably, verifiably false. There's no gray area here. And the way this fallacy works, the little trick it uses to sneak into our decision-making, is something called the job title proxy. Basically, your board sees Senior Resilience Consultant on a business card from a firm you trust, and you accept that title as a substitute for actual verified credentials. The brand gives them legitimacy, the title makes them sound like an expert, and the most important question, but is this person actually qualified? It just never gets asked. Okay, so now we get to the really sharp end of this problem. This isn't just some academic idea. Relying on the appearance of expertise has real, material, and often very painful costs. Think about it. When your leadership team makes huge decisions based on advice that just seems expert but isn't, the quality of those decisions tanks. This can lead to you throwing millions of dollars at the wrong problems, failing to meet your legal duty of care obligations, and, this is the really scary one, it can even open up directors to personal legal liability. The stakes just couldn't be any higher. And let's be absolutely crystal clear on who's left holding the bag here. When that unverified advice blows up in your face, the consulting firm is usually well protected. The consequences? Oh, they get absorbed by your organization, your people, and potentially by you personally. All right, so we've laid out a pretty serious problem. But the good news is it's completely fixable. So let's walk through a straightforward, actionable playbook for leaders to get back in control and make sure they're actually getting the expertise they're paying for. Okay, here are the 5 key steps. Number 1, mandate verification right in your procurement contracts. Make it non-negotiable. 2, consciously separate the brand from the person. Judge the individual, not just the logo on the proposal. 3, require firms to disclose the specific credentials of the actual people who'll be doing the work. 4, Don't just look forward. Go back and audit your current advisors. And finally, number 5, use professional bodies. They exist to help you verify this stuff. It's a simple, practical governance checklist. So, as we start to wrap this up, everything really comes down to one final check on accountability. Where does the buck actually stop? If you only remember one thing from this entire explainer, please let it be this. A job title is not a qualification, and a firm's brand is not a professional credential, period. You see, in fields like medicine or law, the profession itself acts as a gatekeeper to protect the public. They have licensing boards and strict standards. But in so many areas of risk and security, that legal safety net just isn't there. And that means the board, your leadership, you have to be the gatekeeper. The responsibility falls right on your shoulders in your governance process. And so that leaves us with one final crucial question for you to take back to your own organization. Take a hard look at your advisors. Is your board buying genuine, verified expertise? Or is it just paying for the comfort that comes with the expensive appearance of it? The answer to that question could truly be the difference between resilience and disaster.